morning, everyone. Carrie Beck here with Family eBiz, where we help families start and scale online businesses so they can find freedom in their life and do the things that they want to do. We are finishing up 2025. When this publishes, it will be the last week of December. Think about what you've gone through. Look at where you started your year and then see the growth, hopefully, that your business has made, because we need to be able to share that and see that. And sometimes we get so down in the trenches that we don't really see the big picture or see the growth that's been going on. So I really want you to think about that, looking back on 2025. But today, we're going to look forward to 2026 and a new type of marketing that I really believe in. I think online marketing has changed forever. And we need to enter into the world of trust marketing. People buy from someone they know, they like, and they trust. That trust factor is really low right now. I mean, it could be the economy, it could just be the world and all that's going on. And we don't really need to worry about all the reasons. We need to realize that people aren't going to buy from us unless they trust us. So I believe what I want to do today is talk about how you could build a brand that people will follow, they will trust, and buy from repeatedly. Marketing is no longer about persuasion. It's about relationship. Think about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He built trust through three things: through predictability, through gentleness, and through emotional safety. You see, his audience followed him for generations. I mean, I still remember as a kid watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and my kids watching it as well. You see, we followed him not because of fancy graphics or big budgets, but because he made us feel safe. How do you make your audience feel? Are you just cramming things down their throat to buy all the time? Or are you building a relationship? It it makes me feel really good because I have some homeschool moms. They're like, "Oh, when you send an email, Carrie, I read it. I don't read all of my other ones, but I know that you're going to send me something of value." And I hope that would be true. I had another mastermind member say, "Oh, Carrie, your podcast I'm listening to." This is a mastermind member who has a successful business and is growing that. And she says, "I listen to your podcast every single time. It is so good." And so that means I am building a relationship with people that do know me, they like me, and they trust me. So trust is created through consistent emotional stability, not hype. If all you're doing is sending offers all the time, that's not going to build trust. And today I want to talk about three ways that you could build trust with your people. The first one is share your process, not just your products. Now, you do need to share your products. I know a lot of you aren't making any money because people don't even know you have something to sell. But on the other hand, some people are just product, product, product. That's all I want to do is make sales. People need to see your process. So here are a few things you could do. Maybe show behind the scenes what's going on. I have taken some pictures of my when I'm trying to organize my house or clean up the homeschool room or whatever, and it's a disaster. And I can post those and talk about that. And then my audience can relate to it because their house isn't very clean either. So show things behind the scenes of whatever your niche is. Share what you're learning. I am learning along with you. I'm always learning something new and I'm trying to implement that. In fact, yesterday I was teaching a private Facebook ads group coaching, and we're all going through a course together. And I was sort of honest. I was like, I had lots of leads from those ads. I was paying like 70 cents a lead, which is really cheap. Most of them are like $2 a lead, but I was paying that. But I wasn't getting the conversions, the sales conversions. I probably could have kept buying ads and, maybe gotten 1,000 people on my list. But that wasn't the whole reason I was running the ads. I wanted to make money and I wasn't converting as well. I'm sharing that with you right now. It's a little scary to share something like that because you see that ad worked in years past. It was not working this past fall. And so we need to be honest. Things don't always work Right. You know, I tell my homeschool moms, you know what? My kids did not always like homeschooling. If you're watching or listening to someone that says, oh, my kids love it all the time, that's not true. I just can't imagine that. So be honest, share what you're learning, and let people see your imperfect humanity, which goes along with sharing some of the mistakes that you make. You can always take those mistakes and twist them around and turn them into a positive as well. Or the mistake you made and how you fixed it. I did that with my Christmas product. I have a bundle, and I talk about crying on the freeway from one Christmas celebration to the next because I put too much stress on myself. And we found a solution, and I share that solution. So share your process, not just your products. Mm. Creators who build in public grow deeper loyalty because people trust what they can actually see, what they can witness. So, number two, show up consistently. If you're not showing up in their inbox at least once a week, I would think that would be a goal in 2026. And you just need, I have some people that are like, oh, I only want to send them an email once a month. Well, they're not going to remember who you are. So weekly email or maybe a bi-weekly if you're there, but get to where by the end of next year, you're sending an email. And with AI, it's pretty easy to do it. And if you want some help on doing that, I have a course called the 5X method where you can take one podcast and turn it into 5 money-making assets. And I'll put the link to that in the show note as well. So weekly or bi-weekly podcast or content, maybe it's a blog or a podcast, however you get your content out. For me, a podcast is just easier. So it's weekly email, weekly or bi-weekly blog or podcast, and then a monthly offer. Every month you need to be making an offer. I had a girl that's part of my homeschool blogger university, and she came to co-working. We do a once a month co-working session, and she was working, this was a month ago, on her 2026 marketing calendar. She says, am not always organized. I need to already know what product am I going to sell each month. So that's important. If you need help with that, I have a free resource called Business Marketing Roadmap. And you can break things down into months and it'll give you the different things that you need to prepare for. I don't know if you've heard of Seth Godin. He has blogged daily for decades. That is over 7,000 days, 7,000 blog posts. You see, his trust isn't built on the perfect blog. It is built on consistency. How will you be consistent in 2026? Consistency signals reliability, and reliability will build trust in your readers, your followers. So show them the process, and then not exactly how I said this thing, show up consistently. I knew what it was. And then lastly, well, not lastly, but number three for us today is make your marketing human. We have so much automation, it doesn't come off like it's a real person. When you write an email, you ought to be imagining one person like you're writing an email to just that one person. So, what are some ways that you can become human again in your marketing? Tell personal stories. I try to include a personal story in all my emails, even if it's just, hey, I was at my taking care of my grandkids last week and whatever happened. Or I have some pictures. Sometimes my two older grandgirls like to sew, and so we'll do a sewing project, and I'll put a picture of that in the email. It's nothing really. It's just I become a human to them. So tell personal stories, use real conversations. Don't just write as if you're writing to a periodical journal. Lean into being authentic. Authenticity will build trust. Vulnerability will build trust. Sharing some of it took me a while. I don't know how many of y'all know my story, but my husband left 9 years ago, and I walked in shame. I thought the whole world knew me. I was like, it took me 4 years, yeah, 4 years before I would share my story. And the first time I shared it was in El Salvador with some of my the moms down there. So that's hard. But you know what? When I've shared that story online, especially with my homeschool moms, pretty much I always have some of them reach out to me afterwards that are struggling in their marriage. Now, y'all know I'm a person of faith. I pray for Steve every single day and believe that we will be reunited someday. And so that's my story. And yet, I think God uses that story. I also share stories of business. So I'm giving you my homeschool mom, Christian group, that kind of story. In business, when I share something that flops, I have had webinars with goose eggs, zero sales, and that's embarrassing. And yet I learn from those mistakes and I can move forward. And now I can do things that work. And one thing I'm learning is trust is going to be more important in what I do all starting now. I've already been doing some of this because this last part of making myself more human um, is sending personal DMs, personal emails, voice notes, whatever. You see, about a month or two ago, I was recruiting for Family eBiz Mastermind, and I had a few groups that had some slots open, and I wanted to open that up. And I actually wrote some personal emails to some people that have been on my list for a while. And I mentioned their specific business in it. And I had one of them I sent, and the very next day she had signed up and said, "Thank you. Your personal email really made me think this is what I need to do, where I need to be." Wow. That made me realize we have got to build trust, and some of that is being very personal to them. So realize that small creators, when you use genuine personal communication, you often will outsell these huge influencers who just rely on cold automation because you are building trust. So what do you need to do? Share your process, not just your product. Show up consistently. Oh, great. I've got problems here. Things are popping up on my screen. And then make your marketing human. What I would like, those are just things you should consider. I would encourage you, this is the last week of December. Choose one trust building habit that you will implement in 2026. Maybe it is weekly email. Maybe you're not there, but you're going to say by the end of the year, I will be sending out weekly emails by the fall. Maybe it's I'm going to be more personal in my storytelling. And stories sell, by the way. That's a whole nother topic, but stories sell. It's how you make them feel. And really, personal stories can make them feel safe and they will trust you. Or maybe you're going to show more behind the scenes content. Weekly email, personal storytelling, more behind the scenes content, or I am going to plan one monthly offer that serves my audience deeply. It's something I know will help them. I'm not just doing it to try to make some money, although we do need to make money. This is a business, it's not a hobby. So, trust marketing. That's where it's going to be. That's where it is now. And it'll be exciting to see how y'all grow that trust factor. So please, if there's a place where you can leave a comment, let me know which one of these things you plan to do in 2026. And if you haven't subscribed, would you please subscribe to our channel? That just allows us to get more of this information out to more people so they can gain freedom in their lives and do the things that they're called to do. I am Carrie Beck with Family eBiz. We'll talk to you next time.